because the key is in E minor, what
E
would be
minor.
interesting, right, is if
Wow.
you start with the E minor arpeggio. Can you show me that?
Wow.
What is an E minor arpeggio? How do you play it?
E minor arpeggio.
Hmm. Well,
Wow.
good. Keep going. All right. Okay. So you know what is an arpeggio, right?
Arpeggio.
And you know
Arpeggio.
you should do all the inversions because
Oh,
you've
wow.
done them before, right? But we have not played them in a while, right?
Wow.
We usually play scales, right, to warm up. We haven't done arpeggios in a while, and we
Wow.
certainly haven't done E minor arpeggio in a while. So
Nice.
it was a little rusty, right?
That's cool, huh?
That's all right, right?
That's
It just means we
cool.
work on it, right? So
Ah.
when something is rusty, we become aware, right? Oh, we are rusty, so we do some work, right? Let's just do
Wow.
one hand, okay? One, two, three, right? One, two, three is the finger, okay? But I don't want you to play them in triplets, okay? So play them in groups of four.
Wow. Yeah. Ooh. Wow.
Better, right? Now, this note is very hard to find, isn't it? The thumb. Yes, that's better. See, you're getting better. Now, why is this thumb so hard to find? Well, because you have to cross under your head, right?
Wow.
Don't go too fast, right? Now, your elbow cannot be too close to your body. If your elbow is so close to your body, it's almost impossible to get that thumb under. So you need to open your elbow a little.
Wow.
You're getting better, right? Remember, we do not go fast, right? We have to
Nice.
be really clean first. Now,
Clean.
then the left hand has different finger. It's 5, 4, 2, 1. Okay,
Wow. Wow. Ooh.
better, right? Now remember, we do four notes in a group. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Your turn.
Ooh.
Thank you. The grouping is better.
Wow.
And left hand. Not as good as the right hand, right? Why? Because you didn't use four. Four.
Wow.
Well, I don't think that's as good yet, right? But what do? We do slower, right? We do slower until we get it right, right?
Wow. Nice. Ooh.
Okay.
Wow.
So this is not uncommon, right?
Wow.
Our left hand
Wow.
sometimes, right, is weaker than our right hand in
Nice.
these passages, right? In these patterns, we usually
Wow.
it's like a subconscious thing, right? It relies on the right hand to know what to do. So when
Wow.
it's on its own, it's very exposed. It's weaker, right?
Nice.
But that's precisely why we want to just do it, right? We want to do it by itself many times, so it feels comfortable. Do the left hand again. I don't think it's as comfortable as the right hand yet. Just the
Wow.
left hand, please.
Ooh. Nice. Ooh.
better, right? Now, it's very, very tempting, I know, right, to go to 3 because your right hand uses 3, right? It's very tempting. And it's not 100% no-no, right? Really, there is no such thing as an absolute no-no in music, right? Music is so subjective. There's hardly anything that's like an absolute no-no, right? So I like 542. Some people probably just for whatever reason like 532, right? I like 5/4. Do you know why? Because when I do E major, I will do 5/3, right? So I feel like if I do E minor, I want to do 4 because note is different. So 4 for G natural and 3 for G sharp, right? So depending on whether I'm doing major or minor, right? I establish a different set of fingers. Okay, so and this way also I'm getting a little workout on my 4th finger, which is not that strong anyway. If I do 3 here, then there's no difference between the major and the minor, which is why some people like it because they feel like the 3rd finger is so strong. They just want to keep using it, right? So ultimately, it is not an absolute thing whether you must use 4 or 3, right? What I do say though is if you try the 4 and you just can never ever, right, get used to it, it's just never gonna work for you, and you just like 3 better, okay, fine. That is fine, right? But you better stick to it then, right? If 3 is what you like, then you have to do 3 the entire way, right? And also you should do the 3 then in similar patterns later, right, on other keys. Anyway, my point is, right, we gotta practice this arpeggio. Right? See, I had one note that wasn't super clean. Well, that's way better than earlier. So, you see, you're making progress, right? Because the first time you played this arpeggio today was nowhere near this good.
Wow.
Okay? Now do the inversion.
Dang. Ooh. Wow. Ooh.
Okay? Now, you were turning for some reason. The left hand starts with pinky. Now, this one, everybody will do 4. 5, 4, 2, 1, right? Because the gap here is very big. So this one is not like the other one where many people, do 4 and just probably as many people do 3, right? This one, I think about everybody will do 4. So this one is what we call a bit non-negotiable, right? Again, although there's nothing really that's an absolute no-no, but the majority of pianists, right, a big majority will choose 4. Okay, but you don't turn, okay? So 5, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. Your top note will be 1 in the left hand. There's no turning on the top. Try it again.
Nice.
Okay, so we need to try it slower, right? Because you've done it quite a few times now, but there's always a little glitch, right? So how do we fix? Oh, I had a glitch. I better start slower myself, right? Now the gaps are different, right? Some notes are further away, right, than the root position. So we want to practice it, right? Turn.
Ooh.
Better, right? And then the third inversion, yeah.
Ooh.
It's harder, huh? So the right hand is 1, 2, 4. Okay? And the left hand is 5, 3, 2. So they're different again, right? Okay, so 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. A right hand is 4. Okay. Almost, but not 100% yet. They're so close, right? So all the notes are wide. You would think it's easy, right? But it's not. Sometimes having a black note in the middle of the pattern gives you point of reference. But when it's all white, it's actually much harder. So most students think C major scale is the easiest scale to play, right? Because they don't need to worry about black notes. They just play white note only. So if you ask like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old, 7-year-old, what do you think is the most easiest scale? They would all say C major, right? But professionals, they think C major is hard, right? They much prefer B major, right? Which is 5 sharps, right? So anyway, all I'm trying to say is all white notes don't make it necessarily easier. Okay, so I don't feel 100% yet, right, with this arpeggio. So show me again the second inversion of E minor.
Nice. Wow.
Are you going slower? We can do it perfect, I'm sure. Right? You try slower and just really think about what finger you should use. Right hand is 4, left hand is 3. And don't take any chances. Just go slow.
Nice.
Again. All right, that's the best you have done, right? So make sure you practice this arpeggio to go with this piece, okay? Because the piece is built on arpeggios, okay? And it's a nice technique pattern to be able to play very fluently. Okay, so now let's hear the waltz itself.
Oh yeah. Oh, that's it.
Good job. Good job. It's a very grand ending, right? And you see what I mean by the arpeggio being important, right, in this piece. Because the beginning, right, and the end both consisted of a giant arpeggio, right, across the keyboard. Okay, well, it's better than last time for sure, right? Last time was kind of like the first time, right, that you had done the whole piece through, right? So today is a lot better already and a lot more accurate. Let's work on the ending. You have too many notes in the left hand here. You went back to the octave. Yeah, that's easy. Exactly, right? You did something like that's more work, right? Good. Oh, that one has a wrong note. So octave. Yes. So after the big right, it's always octave, right? Chopin is a big octave guy, right? He hardly goes over an octave. So like Rachmaninoff, he always goes over an octave, right? But Chopin, for the most part, octave is your friend. If you can find your octave, you can find most of the notes, right? No, you still didn't do the octave, Kodi. Listen. Here's my octave. So there's an octave again. That's octave, 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 octave. Right? I didn't hear the last octave there. Do it again. I'm not hearing it, right? Kodi, you're not listening to the last octave. Listen. Wow. Now you found it, right? So, right? Octave and then another octave, right? So octave everywhere, right? And then we have a scale, right? Yeah. Good. Now let's snap. What does snap mean? Right, let go of the chord there. What's staccato? Yes. Better, right? So you start the chords in the middle, right? And then the hands go further and further away from each other, right? So it's very dramatic, right? Now, you absolutely must do everything you possibly can, right? To not mess up this arpeggio, because it's so obvious if you do, right? So it's gotta be flawless, right? Right again. Right? So you see what I mean? It's not so easy, right? It's like, how hard can it be? It's just a whole bunch of white notes, but it is hard. I know it's hard, right? But it's almost like unreasonably hard, right? But we practice, right? Okay. Oh, you got better, right? And that's another snap right there, right? So you know how earlier I said this. Right? snap, right? And then you pedal all of this, right? And we want a big snap there, right? Now, I don't know if you use the right hand and the left hand to play that, right? It's up to you, right? However you like to do it. One note with the right hand, one note with the left hand. Some people do the octave, right, in the left hand. But the point is, you gotta make this E minor arpeggio, right? Absolutely perfect. Okay? Not perfect. That's not perfect. That's, I know, it's hard, right? Better. Uh-huh. Good job. Good job. That was better, okay? All right, so we fixed the ending. Now let's fix this business. You are very good here. I could hear clearly, right? And your harmony is perfect. Now listen to this part. I'm not hearing clearly, especially the eighth notes, right? So show me that part. It was better. You're a little rushing the rhythm. So you see? That note is quite long before you have to continue, right? So wait again. All right, better. Okay, and then most of the beginning, right, is fine. It's just the transitions, right? What do I mean by transitions? Because the piece really can be kind of put into sections, right? It's like introduction, right? Like intro, that which is the arpeggio, right? Right? That's the intro. And then you can almost label each section. So A, right? Let's go to A section, and then that's the B section, right? And after that, you do the da 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 da. You go back to A again, right? And then okay, you can call that C, right? And then after C, you have D, right? And then after D, what do? You go back to C, right? And then eventually, what happens? You go back to right A again, right? And then after A, you have a kind of like a finishing bit, which we can call it. If you want, you can call it another letter like E, or most people would just call it the coda, right? Or the ending section. Exactly, right? So it's very the piece is the way he has written it is very compartmentalized. It's like each section has a very distinct start, right, and a very distinct end to it. So, but the danger of that is that the piece becomes too broken up. You see? So the way he wrote is like that, right? But when we play, we have to be careful that the piece doesn't sound like a whole bunch of little pieces. You see? So the transition is important. We need to make sure that we are not slowing down, right, too much at the end of each section, because then it makes people feel like it was the end of the piece, right? When it was only the end of that particular section, and there's many, many more sections to come. You see? So you gotta be very careful with your rubato that you're not overdoing it, so that you're not losing the momentum. Okay, the overall momentum of the piece. Okay. All right. So I'll give you one example. I think a particular section that seemed to have a bit too much slowing down, right? And it's almost. It's not like you're doing it on purpose. It just feels natural sometimes, right? So, but it was this section. Keep going, right? You don't want to be overly sentimental, right? That's overdoing it. You see what I mean? So you need some, but you just have to be aware that you're not losing the overall, right?
Wow.
Rhythm. Okay, can we do that section?
Yeah.
Actually, there is no B natural. There's no B natural. We're doing the first time this section comes, right? So the very first time we hear this section, no, there is no B natural. It just starts right there, right? There's no nope. You're doing an extra note, right? So it's more simple, right?
Yeah.
Good. Good. That's right. That one has the B natural. Good. Okay. Well, you understood what I mean by making, the music kind of had that more of a continuous drive, right? So that momentum, that direction, that forward motion definitely was more evident, right? There wasn't not so much of this slowing down in between sections. Okay. You have a little trouble with this section right here. Right? It's like no, there's no G there. See? So that group doesn't have G. So it's like a diminished seventh with a missing note. Right? You're very good at the ending now, right? The chords, I mean, the arpeggio you still need to work on. But you see what I mean by this is a diminished seventh. But he's missing a note. So there's no A sharp there. There's no G there. And there's no E there. And there's no C sharp there. So each one is missing a note in the diminished seventh chord, right? Which one is the one missing? And all these are not that easy, of course, right? So we also have to do a lot of practice on the chords. But like I said, even if you mess up some of those notes, which sometimes is inevitable, right? As hard as we try, we must not of the spinal arpeggio, right? That cannot ever, right, be not clean because it's too obvious, right? Okay, and it's something that is a standard pattern, right? It's a standard figuration. Gotta get it right, right? On the way down, right? So, right? The thing is, if you miss a note, right, then you it's like a different chord. See, if you miss this note and you played it here, see, instead of E minor, it become F major. That would be just too obvious, like I said, right? So gotta work on that, okay? And remember release, right? Release. Don't. Yep. Let your hand be much more loose once you do the piano. Yeah. Don't be tense. Yeah. You have an extra motion of closing your fingers. Just let them fall naturally, right? Let the fingers fall naturally. Don't close the fingers afterwards. Let them fall naturally. Let them be. Yeah. Don't think about it. Yeah. Don't think about it. You're trying to do it's like an afterthought. After you come up, you're like, oh, I better close my fingers. Or I better make sure my fingers are dripping down. It should be just naturally happening anyway. But do not have like an extra motion, okay? Just let the fingers freely drop and let them be. Okay? Don't do anything to them. Don't do anything to them. Yeah, just let them be, right? So it's like when you jump, right, on a trampoline, right? What will happen? It bounces you up in the air, and then you just fall naturally back down, right? Gravity brings you naturally back down, right? So the whole thing is very natural, right? There's no awkward movement of any sort, right? Once it bounces you up, you fall, right? So, okay. And then the main section, right? This part is just so gorgeous, right? So that's where I will save my rubato, right? Especially this one, right? So it's a descending sequence, right? Right? And then oh my goodness, right? It gets more and more expressive. So now you can do a lot with, for example, how you play with the. So maybe the first one is more upbeat, right? So it's more bright, right? And then each one, right, becomes less and less bright. And by the time you get the third one, right? See, I'm not even playing it quite as fast, right? I'm kind of spacing it out more. And I certainly am playing a lot softer, right? So, sorry. Right? Can you show me that? How expressive that part is. Exactly. Whatever little time you do take, right? Must get back there, right? So, must be back on time. Da, 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 da. And then pick up. Okay? Turn. It's very dangerous, right? To want to go slow down and then slow down, right? But we need to resist the temptation. And this is the left hand here does have that extra note, right? So I know where you got that idea from now, right? The final section you wanted to do the octave again, so you got the idea from here. But this one, of course, is busier, right? So let's play this very, very straight, right? See what happens. So there is a natural. So try to just play a little bit more on time. Go.
Wow.
Better. Okay, then.
Nice.
Good job. I think that's a very hard part, right? I think I mentioned that last time. So you must have practiced this part because this part, I think it's hard to be accurate because it jumps so much. Like, how on earth can I find this note again, right? If I can't see it, I know I can't, right? So I don't know how you could find, right, the thumb again, right, after it goes back down to such a low note. So whatever you have done to fix this, right, is working because I think that's highly, highly tricky, right? Try it again.
Nice.
Okay, but we don't want to do it always the same way, right? So in the first section, when we first heard this idea, right? Right, we romanticize, right? That third one, right? Or I did, right? But that doesn't mean that's what we're gonna do every single time, right? Because the A section comes back the most number of times, right? It's almost like a rondo of some sort, right? So, but we can't possibly do it the same way every time because it becomes too predictable, right? So after you have had the B section, which was the, you know, after you have had this, right? And you even had another, you know, very fancy. So then it comes back, right? So I always say, right?
Wow.
When it after all that we come back, right? Sorry, you know how we come back to the main section, right? How about just try it a little more straight this time because we've already heard the very sentimental version, right? It's not the first time we've heard it, right? Okay, let it be, right? Just a little bit more straightforward this time.
Wow.
Go.
Nice.
Something like that, right? So, but the point is not necessarily doing, right, exactly the same rubato every single time the material comes, okay? So one of them could absolutely be more straightforward, especially when you've already had so many interesting that just happened, right? Like all this all of this is new, right? That was all new, and then, right, you already got a lot of things going on. So this particular version could be more straightforward, okay?
Nice.
And then when it comes back later, maybe you could just choose a different one to do something different. So maybe you could, not this one, right? In a different section, when it comes back again, you could go. Sorry, not a good example. Do you see what I did? I made that second one more special, right? I made this one more special. Do you hear the difference?
Wow.
That was quite nice, right? And then maybe in another one, right, I might even make the first one special. So, do you see? Right? So something to consider, okay? And your decision of which one to make special might not be the same as mine, okay? And that will be okay, of course, right? Okay. Now, shall we play the whole thing now again? Thinking about all the things we've discussed today?
All right. Oh, that's it. Yeah.
Good job. Very good, right? That's a big difference before and after. Right? The beginning of the lesson, right? How you played, and right now, right? It's a huge difference. There's, of course, always room for improvement, right?
That's good.
Continue to make it even more better. You were aware, right, of the mistake here, right? Because you did, right? Right? Agree? Yeah. Thank you. So you were aware of it though, because as soon as you play the G natural, you did stop for a split of a second, thinking, "Oh no, she said I need to play octave," right? So you try to fix it, right? But then you realize it already happened. It's too late. I should just move on, right? But I could tell, right, that in your mind you were saying to yourself, I did not do that right, right?
That's right.
So you try to do something, but in the performance, of course, it's better to just let it go, right, and move on. But I can tell that you were at least aware of your mistake. Okay, and then a lot of things were so much better, right? Your arpeggio was like almost perfect, right? It was like perfect until the last part because it's so low, right? It's so low, it's very hard to be playing the right hand at the bottom. Oh, see, I still didn't hear the B there. The last three notes. I still heard a C instead of a B. Yes. And you looked better, right? Your last one, can you jump higher? Is it possible, right? To just jump real high. Let it bounce naturally. Don't try to force it. Don't try to do anything special. Just let it bounce. Bounce. Bounce your hand. Bounce your arms. Yeah, not so much your body, not so much on the bench, but just letting your arm come up. Letting your arm come up in the air.
Wow.
Something, right? Like that, right? And relax your arms, okay? Relax your shoulders, okay? So accuracy was much, much better. You are still rushing this rhythm just a teeny. Dun, da, 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 dun, da, 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 dun, da, da, da. Okay? Almost, yes, we're a little cut short. But your introduction was amazing. It was very, very clean, okay? This section, right, which I said was so hard, right, and extremely difficult to be spot on, right, because they're just so far away, right? Even with my two eyes looking at the notes, I can hardly get them right? But you all have to do it by feeling them, right? So it's so hard. So that part, you did a little bit better the previous times, right? So that part was a little not as good as the other time that you did it, right? But I understand that's a hard part, right? So overall, anyway, it is way better, okay? So, you should think about all the Chopin pieces we've learned, right? There's got to be like at least 10, right? Since last 2 months or whatever, right?
What the heck?
If you play them in a row, that's almost like a half recital, right? Play all the Chopin pieces we've learned, right? All the waltz, all the nocturnes, right?
Oh my gosh.
Quite a few, right? So make sure that you are continuously reviewing them, okay? So you don't forget.
All right.
Okay? All right. See you next time, Kodi.
See ya.
Good job. You work so hard. See you next time.